This tiny, worn-out 5 groszy coin might look like something you toss into a jar and forget about forever, but what if I told you that certain rare examples have caught the attention of collectors and sold for hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars? The scratches, the dirt, the discoloration, and even the damage that make a coin look worthless could actually be hiding the clues that make it incredibly valuable. Before you spend another old coin or ignore that handful of change sitting in a drawer, you need to see these surprising treasures that many people overlook every day. First coin. The 2005 groszy coin from Poland is one of those coins that almost nobody looks at twice. It's small, lightweight, and usually found covered in dirt, scratches, and years of wear. Most people see it as a coin worth only a few cents. But what many collectors have discovered is that certain 2005 groszy coins can be surprisingly valuable, especially when they have unusual features, minting errors, or exceptional condition. That's exactly why this little coin deserves a closer look. Imagine cleaning out an old drawer, sorting through a forgotten coin jar, or opening a box that has been sitting in storage for years. Among the loose change, you spot a tiny Polish 5 groszy coin dated 2000. At first glance, it doesn't seem special. The surface may be dull. The edges may be worn. It might even look damaged. Most people would toss it aside and move on. But experienced collectors know that appearances can be deceiving. The year 2000 was an exciting time around the world. A new millennium had just begun, and many countries were producing coins that would later become interesting collectibles. Poland was continuing to modernize its currency system, and millions of 5 groszy coins entered circulation. Because so many were produced, people naturally assume they are all common. However, the real story begins when collectors start examining them closely. Next coin. The 2005 5 groszy coin is exactly the kind of coin that most people ignore. It's small, common-looking, and usually found mixed in with other low-value coins. Many examples are dirty, scratched, discolored, or heavily worn from years of circulation. To the average person, it seems impossible that a coin like this could ever be worth more than a few cents. But collectors know that some of the most surprising discoveries come from the coins nobody bothers to examine. Picture yourself sorting through a jar of old foreign coins. Among the pile, you notice a tiny Polish 5 groszy dated 2005. It doesn't shine. It doesn't look rare. In fact, it may look like one of the least impressive coins in the entire collection. Yet that simple appearance is exactly why valuable examples often go unnoticed for years. When the 2005 5 groszy entered circulation, it was designed for everyday use. Millions of people carried these coins in their pockets, spent them in stores, and dropped them into cash registers across Poland. They were never intended to be collector's items. They were simply tools for daily transactions. But time has a way of changing how people view coins. As years passed, collectors began examining modern coins more closely. Instead of focusing only on old silver and gold pieces, they started searching for hidden treasures among ordinary circulating coins. That search revealed an important truth. Even common-looking coins can become valuable under the right circumstances. One of the biggest factors is condition. Think about how many places a coin travels during its life. It rattles around with keys. It falls onto hard surfaces. It rubs against other coins thousands of times. Every little encounter leaves a mark. Eventually, the coin becomes worn and damaged. Because of this, finding a 2005 5 groszy that still looks fresh and sharp can be much harder than people expect. Next coin. The 2010 5 groszy coin is the kind of coin that almost nobody gets excited about. It's small, lightweight, and usually covered with years of wear from everyday circulation. Most people who come across one would never imagine that collectors could be interested in it. In fact, many of these coins end up forgotten in drawers, tossed into jars, or mixed with other spare change without a second thought. But as every experienced coin hunter knows, some of the biggest surprises come from the coins that look the most ordinary. Imagine finding a handful of old Polish coins while cleaning out a closet. You spread them across a table and immediately notice a tiny 2010 5 groszy. It doesn't sparkle. It doesn't look rare. It may even have scratches, stains, or discoloration from years of use. Most people would move on without giving it another glance. Yet collectors understand that appearances can be incredibly misleading. The reason is simple. Valuable coins often hide in plain sight. While millions of people focus only on coins made of silver or gold, dedicated collectors search for unusual modern coins that others overlook. Sometimes a coin's value comes from rarity. Sometimes it comes from condition. And sometimes it comes from small details that only become obvious after careful examination. When the 2010 5 groszy entered circulation, it was intended for everyday transactions. It passed through stores, markets, restaurants, and countless cash registers. Millions of people handled these coins without thinking about their future collectability. They were simply part of daily life. Yet as years passed, collectors began paying closer attention to modern circulating coins, and the hunt for hidden treasures intensified. Next coin. The 2015 5 groszy coin may be the most surprising coin on this entire list because it's also the newest. Most people assume that only old coins can become valuable. They imagine treasures hidden in coins that are 50, 100, or even 200 years old. Very few people would ever look at a modern 2015 5 groszy and think it could be worth more than face value. That assumption is exactly why some of the most interesting discoveries happen with coins like this. Imagine reaching into a jar of loose change and pulling out a small Polish 5 groszy coin dated 2015. It looks ordinary. It feels ordinary. It may even be covered with scratches from years of circulation. Nothing about it immediately suggests rarity or value. In fact, most people would probably spend it without giving it a second thought. But coin collectors know that value and appearance are often two very different things. The history of coin collecting is filled with stories about everyday coins that were ignored for years before someone realized they were special. Some became valuable because of unusual minting errors. Others became desirable because they were preserved in remarkable condition. A few gained attention simply because collectors began noticing details that most people overlooked. The 2015 5 groszy represents the possibility that hidden value can exist where nobody expects it. That possibility is what makes coin collecting exciting. Every coin has a story, and sometimes the most ordinary-looking pieces end up creating the biggest surprises. When these coins entered circulation, they were intended for routine use. They passed through stores, restaurants, banks, and countless cash registers. Millions of people carried them in pockets and purses. Because they were common, nobody thought much about them. Yet every year that passes changes the story. Thanks for watching.